Hey everyone, got Jonathan, Rachel, and Logan here. We're talking about day one of Heroes Con.
Woo!
Whoa. Yeah, it's always fun to go to conventions, but it's also very tiring. Not only to get here, so my backpack just fell, so that's how tired everything is. Yeah, it's hard to get here, even though all we have to do is drive, which is nice. Some people take a flight, so that's a lot harder, but I know for a lot of the exhibitors and other visitors it can be hard, but so we kind of have it somewhat easy, but even so, going to a hotel and everything is the whole thing. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about day one of Heroes Con. So we're going to talk about some of the people we met, just give a look at some shout outs, and some of the things that we did. So I know, Logan, you were able to pick up some cool artwork. You want to talk a little bit about that?
No, not really.
Well, you got some art from Dan Needlinger. So
Yeah, I sure did.
he had a artwork of you got some Nova, you got some Galactus, you got Zoro from One Piece, and then you got more artwork from Nova and as well. It's like you like that character.
Yeah, something like that.
You just anytime we saw Nova, someone drawing Nova, you're like, ooh, I gotta get that.
Yeah.
So that got that locked down. So, and then I was on the hunt for some sketches. So I'm doing something that I've not done before. I got David Peterson had a facsimile of his original Mouse Guard book, and it had a blank cover, which he's never done before. And so I was like, this would be cool if I got others to draw Mouse Guard characters on the cover. So not David Peterson, but other artists at the con doing it. And I wanted to get different art styles as well. It didn't have to be ones that matched David Peterson's style. And so, so I've got a few here. So I'll be posting that up online. Still got a couple more days to get more, but we got Jeremy Baston, we got Chris Giarusso, and a couple others as well. So we'll talk about the rest of them though once I have got all of the artwork. And again, I'll post whatever I'm able to get this week. We also met Bill Amend of Foxtrot.
Yeah. So
that was pretty cool. Got a nice little print referencing one of our favorite shows, Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think this was this the first time that he's been to Heroes Con, or the first time in a long time, maybe?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So got that print and a little dinosaur sticker. Just, I love stickers.
Yeah.
So we got that.
You and your stickers.
Me and my stickers. And then also with Chris Russo, he did these crazy connecting covers. It was the Marvel Universe connecting variants. And I think there was like 15 of them. So shout outs to him and his being cool enough to sign all of them. I thought about just having him sign one, but then I was like, that doesn't make sense. The collector in me just is like, that doesn't make sense, just have him sign one. I felt bad having him sign all of them. But shout outs to him because he was a good sport.
Very gracious.
Yes, very gracious. So that was really cool. And we got some of his original work, and he had a friend with him as well that had some books, so we got that as well. So that was really cool. So we got that. And then we talked to a lot of people. We got a lot of business cards and little other stickers and flyers. So some of them, one of the artists that I had do the Mouse Guard cover, little sketch, Ricardo Lopez Ortiz, he did a really cool Mouse Guard sketch there. Mm-hmm. So we met him. And then there was some cool things like there was some Blast from the Past, the Southern Knights. If you know who they are, you do. I guess they were kind of obscure. I actually felt bad because I didn't know who these were. So shout outs to them and them trying to bring back some of those classic there. Let's see, we got Zach Kaplan. He's got some interesting kind of sci-fi books. We've got Project Neosis, which is an interesting looking book. We got a role-playing game, Born from Ice, where you play as characters in the Ice Age, so that was a kind of interesting concept. We got Phenomena Nova, another kind of sci-fi type story. We got Brendan Abetsky. I think if this is the same artist, I think he had a very interesting concept for a book. I'll have to check that out later. So a lot of these artists, we kind of just said hello and then grab their cards, and then we'll come back probably with more details later. We have The Adventures of Omega Girl. So we have another superhero story there. So yeah, so just a lot of others. There's a Con Carolinas, which is a kind of a smaller con that was promoting there as well. So we got some free swag from them. So that was about it, I think, for our gets for the day. We also did some. Oh yeah, totally forgot. So we got this book, Blue Scar the Barbarian. So,
yeah.
So that was kind of cool. It kind of looked like Hanna-Barbera meets, what do you say, Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars. So we're like, okay, that's interesting. So it was fun. It looks cute, so we'll definitely check it out. And the artist for this book also did a little sketch on my mouse guard thing, so that was cool. So yeah, and then we all learned how to draw. That was fun, right?
Well, some of us learned.
So what?
Some of us just gained some additional skill, and some of us just learned that they were worse than they thought they were.
We all can get better with practice, is one of the messages of the instructors.
And when I say some of us, I'm talking about myself being the one that's the worst. So, just to be clear.
Okay. I don't feel that way, but that's okay. So yeah, it was a dynamic figure drawing. It was from SCAD, which is a local, Southern art school. They do sequential art classes, and Dove McCaig was there, and he was very animated in his delivery, and was able to give us some tips and tricks. Logan, did you learn some things?
Yes.
Good talk.
I think he's already applying that.
He's drawing as we speak. So
Not very good, but
Oh, I don't. Just takes some more practice, and then to kind of cap the day off, we went to a Prince Valiant panel, so that was fun. Kind of got a little background on one of the longest. Is it the longest running Sunday strip? I mean, this has been like 90 years.
90 plus years. I mean, I don't know.
It's close, possible. If not the longest. It's got to be like top 3 or top 2 here, which is kind of wild. So that was kind of interesting to hear some of the background on that, and how they're still chugging along. Somehow the print newspapers are still coming out every week with comics, and that's still going on. So that was kind of cool.
I did not understand anything that was, because I've never read those ships, so I didn't really know half the things they were talking about.
Yeah, I guess, and that's part of the thing, right? Is that, and it's a shame too, because I think that there's a whole huge history there with Prince Valiant comic strips, and just the level. It was just crazy because the level of art there in those strips was so high. Most comic strips are relatively, not to diminish, let's say a strip like Foxtrot, but arguably those are a little bit easier to produce than a highly detailed, more realistic, at least in my opinion, comic strip, and do that every single week like that. So that's a lot of work that goes into that. So yeah, shout outs to them for doing that. So that was a cool kind of way to end things off. We also talked to, didn't have anything to share as far as the con goes, that he was there, but Xavier Robbins, who we've met in the past, he's working on some stuff, so he didn't have anything to share, but shout out to him too. He was there doing his thing, so that was cool to see. Yeah, any general thoughts, guys, about today, day 1 of Heroes Con? Logan, anything you want to add How'd you feel about it?
It was nice.
Yeah.
I'm now tired.
Now you're tired.
I want to go to bed.
Yeah, lots of walking,
Yeah.
but
Logan already scored pretty good today.
Yeah.
I would say.
yeah, he got some cool art. You know, he's like I said, he's a big Nova fan, so he's got 2 nice art pieces right there.
I got a bit of Mega Man.
You got some Mega Man too, so another big fan of that as well. So that it's cool. I don't know where you're gonna hang that up, but you got it though. So
I do got it.
you got it.
Got the good.
Yeah. So tomorrow, hopefully, we might try to get the artist on Absolute Batman, Nick Dragotta, and then also maybe Scotty Young. Hopefully, we can get those 2 knocked out tomorrow. We'll see.
You know that's going to be a long line.
That's gonna be a long line, so we'll see what we can do. But yeah, so we'll be going through and checking out some more artists tomorrow, and some more booths, and then probably hit some more panels, try to get some more signatures. So we're looking forward to day 2, and after we're done, we'll hopefully have another recap as well. With that being said,
To all a good night.
to all good nights. I've been Jonathan,
Gorge night. This
This
was
is-
Logan.
Tired Rachel.
and you've been listening to Comic Talk Cafe. Alrighty, everybody. This is day 2 summary of Heroes Con 2025. Got Jonathan here with Rachel and Logan.
Hello.
Hello.
Good.
So, I just want to talk about our experience today. So, as is our kind of custom when we go to Heroes Con, we try to get through kind of the whole show floor and try to find new and interesting artists and projects to look at. And certainly we found a few interesting ones. We've got The Adventures of Invisible Boy by Doogie Horner. So it's a YA graphic novel. It looks like a lot of fun. So that looks good. And then we also found Sunder. Hey, Logan, can you pronounce that name for me?
Which one?
The first one. Is it?
Pierre Alexander Comtois.
Okay, well, thank you.
It's
Okay.
probably wrong, but you know.
I think it sounds better than what I would have done, so I appreciate it. So Sunder is like it's an anthropomorphized animal characters. It's like a sci-fi fantasy type story, so kind of interesting there about this little librarian kid who gets flung into an adventure. So it looks interesting, very good, very dynamic art. I think it's something that we both appreciated, right, Rachel?
Oh yeah, the art. It was fun too because he had the book, but he also had his sketchbook there of the work prior to the book.
Yeah.
And being able to flip through that and just see kind of the rough draft, the detail, and we've been talking all weekend about dynamic art, and just seeing that being put into practice with this particular artist. Not that to say other artists that we've seen haven't, because I've seen a lot of them, but there's just something about this one with emotion and just the detail and it all being put into action. It just really stood out, and it was really pleasant.
So definitely look forward to checking that out and talking more detail about that soon. And then we also found some other artists and projects. Just to give some shout outs here, we checked out Chris Hyun-Sung Lee. He had some cool art.
That was interesting art as well. If anybody gets a chance to check his out.
And then
It's different.
Yeah. And then Sarah G, I think. Does that sound right? Does that look right? Possibly.
SERAJI.
We checked out Gene Shanks, got a card from him. His project, Star Child Comics, and then he's got Eli. What's that say?
Newsborn?
Yeah,
Maybe.
Newsborn.
Nugaborn?
Maybe
There's a lot of ways you could say.
I
don't know
Newsborn
what like
sounds
the
right.
language of origin
Yeah.
is. So, it's
So
kinda hard to
Eli was
tell.
interesting because he had a biographical, nonfiction, nonfiction book about a friend of his dad's that like basically went off the map and kind of illustrating what happened to him. So I thought that was kind of an interesting concept for a story, a true story.
Yeah, that
And
was really
illustrated.
neat.
So that was interesting. And then I continued on my quest to fill out the sketchbook or sketch cover for Mouse Guard 20th anniversary book. So I added to, I already gotten Jeremy Bastion, Jamie Cooley, and Ricardo Lopez Ortiz on Friday, and then today we got. You want to say it, Logan, because you always give me a hard time about Chris.
Chris Heroes.
Todd Webb is another one. He's a little cartoonist. He has an awesome little comic strip called The Poet.
You may know Chris Gioso from Mini Marvels.
Yeah, the Mini Marvels artist. Yeah, so yeah, he was gracious enough to do in there. And then also, like I said, Todd Webb, who's a cartoonist. He has a little, I think it's a daily strip called The Poet.
Yeah.
Which is about a poet who sits on a park bench with a little bird that gives him a hard time.
Unfortunately, he does know it. So
Yeah, he does know it, yes. And I guess he's also got a little book or comic coming out called Dog and Frog. Looks like fun. Steve Conley. Steve Conley. So he added his drawing to the book. I still have plenty of space on here. I may not fill it out completely during this con. I don't expect to. But I got a good start. More than I expected, honestly. Got 6 artists, and I got room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more, really, which is cool. So everyone does little busts. So, like I said, I'll be posting the progress on this on our social medias, so you guys can check out the cool art that was done in celebration of 20 years of Mouse Guard. Or over 20 years, really.
Yeah.
All right. And then we also...
I would say,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
what was the name? Ricardo Lopez Ortiz.
Mhm.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably one of my favorite artists that are like new this year. At least for me, I hadn't seen his stuff before.
Yeah, he did some... I got exposed to him by... he did some alternate covers for some DC books. It's the My Adventures of Superman specifically. So I saw those and I liked what those looked like. At the time, I didn't even know the artist's name at all. I just liked the covers. Then I see the cover at the con. And that's what's cool about going to Comic-Con. Because a lot of times you don't necessarily think to check, like, say, just a random artist. You might see them doing a cover and see their name. And then you'll see that cover at the con. You put the name with the art and you're like, oh, cool. And then that kind of continues from there. You can start following that artist. So it's a good way for artists to get exposed and everything. And us to get exposed to new artists. So that's one of the things I like about cons. We also went to some panels. We did Chris Claremont and Adam Hughes. So I have some interesting tidbits about their history.
It's not Adam Hughes.
Adam Hughes?
Or Adam.
Art Adams, sorry. Chris Claremont and Art Adams. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot better.
Adam Hughes is a different artist. It has been a long day.
Yeah.
But in any case.
And then the other one was Daniel Warren Johnson. And the other ones.
Absolute Batman artist.
Yeah. Because Daniel Warren Johnson is the only one of them that I had known about previously, so I'm blanking on the others' names.
Hold on. Sorry. Nick Dragotta.
Yeah, that was it.
So artists of Absolute Batman, Nick Dragotta. They had a nice conversation talking about some of their experiences and gave me some interesting, I thought, poignant general art tips. Not necessarily much like how to draw, but more like maybe how to think as an artist, and maybe some just
fun anecdotes.
And some fun anecdotes, yeah, too. But I thought there were some good, even on both panels, I thought there was some good, like, almost like life lessons, you could say.
Life lesson, have a sketchbook with you at all times.
Yes, if you're an artist, having a sketchbook at all times is vital for progress, for growth. Because because I mean, it's like one of those things where it's a trope for a reason, but it's true because that's what it is. It is true that the more you draw, the better you get. It's just one of those things, and that's one of the messages that we heard from the Daniel Warren Johnson panel with Nick Dragotta. So,
speaking of sketchbooks,
yes,
shout out to Cheap Joe's Art Supplies, from whom I have spent exorbitant amounts of money on Copic and Posca markers and other such supplies.
Yeah, and we also found out RIP, right? Because this is possibly their last show. Definitely the last show as Cheap Joe's. In fact, Cheap Joe's, I guess, no longer exists.
Yep.
Longtime staple of Heroes Con. Sad to see them go, but business is business, and things happen for one reason or another. At least one of the locations, the one in Asheville, is going to stick around. It's going to be under a new owner and a new name, I think starting next month. So I'm glad that a lot of the folks there from Cheap Joe's actually got rehired.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear, and hopefully all the best.
Went and spent another $100 on them as a last hurrah.
You're supporting the art store.
It was more like $96.
Oh, okay, that makes
something
so much better. Well, it's art, and as long as you're making cool art with it, that's worth it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good talk. All right, awesome. So that's about does it for day 2 of Heroes Con. So we'll come back for day 3, and then probably do a little recap of everything at the end. So.
And hats off to the VIPs.
Throwing up Scotty Young's line within the first 5 minutes of opening.
Rich is getting a little salty here.
Stretching down from one edge of the earth to the other.
Yeah,
So
I mean it's tough, right? Because for those that don't pay for VIP, not being able to get into line, it is kind of a bummer because we walked up to the Scotty Young right as we got in, and it was already full. And we, obviously it was all VIPs that were filling that. So, I guess you get what you pay for, huh?
Yeah, not everybody can afford
This is true.
a VIP
This is true.
ticket, so hats off if you can.
Except not really, because most of them are resellers.
Well, we don't know that for sure, but there's a good possibility that some of them are.
That one guy in Chris Claremont's line last year with like $500 or whatever it was. Whew. Holding up the line for hours.
That's insane. I guess if he pays for it, I guess he thinks it's worth it.
Like you said, he sold his sold multiple years ago.
Yeah, I guess so.
Those signatures aren't cheap either.
No, they're not.
Claremont.
No, they're not. They're like at least like $20-$30, right? Signature.
Yep.
Something like that.
That's his health insurance.
That is his health insurance. He's getting up there, so he needs it, right? So,
Speaking of which, R.I.P. Peter David,
indeed,
who could not afford his health insurance.
Yeah, sad state of affairs for a lot of creators. They don't have the ability to access to good health care, and that sometimes can be a problem. So, no industry is perfect. No Comic-Con is perfect. We do what we can. On that note, we will see you next time. All right, I've been Jonathan.
I have occasionally been Logan.
Oh.
Always Rachel.
Always Rachel. And you've been listening to Comic Talk Cafe. Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, Rachel, and Logan here. We're just wrapped up day 3 of Heroes Con 2025. We survived, everybody.
Did we? It's debatable right now. A little thanks to Snooze breakfast this morning. It helped get us through.
Oh yeah, it's some solid breakfast from Snooze. Shout out to them. Definitely check them out if you're in the Charlotte area.
Indeed, quite good.
So Sunday was a lighter day for us. We had already gone through the whole show floor, and so really Sunday was just kind of following up on a couple of artists that maybe we were thinking about getting maybe a book from them or things of that nature.
I was able to get Nick Dragotta's signature on my Absolute Batman #1, so that was cool. It was nice to get that. And then, grabbed a couple other items that we perhaps were thinking about, and then pulled the trigger on Sunday. And of course, Sunday is also, if you haven't been to a con like this before, Sunday is a good day to get deals. So there were quite a few booths that were doing like half off or more on comics and other items. So we were able to get some things there. So that was cool. But yeah, I was just kind of just wandering around for a while. We did do a panel on character design from SCAD. And so that was neat. But yeah, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot more. Any final thoughts about Sunday, everybody?
No, it was a good wrap-up day. It's a good day to catch any extras that maybe you didn't catch the other days. But keep in mind, if you guys haven't gone before and you're thinking of doing it next year, don't wait till the last minute. Don't stretch it out to the end either, because a lot of the vendors and even artists will leave early on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because they've had a long weekend too.
Mm-hmm. And things happen. Like, I was talking to someone about that where, as a rep for one of the artists, and he was like, yeah, it's a good idea to get there early on a Sunday. So if an artist has, let's say, an AM signing and then a PM signing on Sunday, definitely try to get to that AM signing, because their flight could change or something else could happen where they have to leave early. That, maybe not even because they want to. It's just something that happens, and they got to catch their flight. So now they got to go early, and so things like that can happen. So yeah, it definitely happened to us. There was an artist that I had forgotten about that I wanted to talk to, and then remembered on Sunday afternoon, and sure enough, we go to their booth, and one of the reps there was like, yeah, he already left. So yeah, so it's definitely something to keep in mind. Even though we've gone to cons for years, even I forgot about that. So definitely pro tip there for a con going. So let's talk a little bit, maybe just in general, about the whole con 2025, maybe how it compares to maybe other years that we've gone. How do you guys feel about the con in general at this point?
It didn't. Oddly, it seemed less busy this year to me, especially in comparison to the anniversary year.
Oh yeah.
Of course, that really seemed to boom for me. But this year, I don't know. It just didn't seem to have the same flair as far as that goes. And I noticed it felt like there was some certain artists that we would normally see that weren't there. So that kind of saddened me to not have some of those familiar faces there. I'm not sure what the reasons were, but I know a lot of times these artists, have, busy schedules, a lot going on, and sometimes they have choices they have to make. So I don't know if it's chalked up to that. I know there were some cancellations. I know people get sick. Things happen.
Yeah.
But and I don't know what the numbers were. Maybe the numbers were the same, but it just didn't have the same feel to me as like even just last year.
Yeah.
Like as far as hype goes, like people didn't seem as hyped up about things. And that made me sad, because I think they should be excited. They should be going and feeling, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna connect with people, and these are my people. These are who I have something in common with. And I don't know, I didn't get that connection from everybody. There were definitely people that we did, but there was just some people that just seemed just to kind of be on a mission, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's something to do with what's going on in the world. I don't know. Maybe that's affecting things. Who knows?
Yeah, that's possible.
But yeah, I mean, I think in general it was still a good time, and we were able to see a lot of different artists and saw some cool projects that we'll probably be talking about in future shows. But overall, I was definitely happy to go, and we don't know what the future will hold if we'll be back next year, but hopefully I will be able to do that. And that's definitely one of the best Comic-Cons, I think, in the world. And the big part of that is, its focus on the artist comics, pure comics experience. If that's what you're looking for, then Heroes Con's probably one of, if not the best place to do that.
Yeah, that's your go-to for sure, because you don't need all the hype as far as everything else goes. And I love that, even what you consider maybe big name or lesser known to maybe some people as far as artists go, all will join in a panel.
Yeah.
And to them, they're just artists.
Right.
And they consider themselves all in the same venue.
Logan, any final thoughts about Heroes Con this year?
It was fun.
It was fun? Okay.
Yeah, same as always.
The man of few words. All right, cool. That will wrap things up for day 3 and kind of just a summary of our thoughts of Heroes Con 2025. I've been Jonathan.
This is Rachel.
And this is sometimes Logan.
And you've been listening to Comic Talk Cafe.